John Ritter was a beloved television actor until his untimely death in 2003 at age 54, and his father was a country music singer named Tex Ritter. Although both Tex and John found careers in the entertainment industry, Tex considered acting beneath him and discouraged his son from pursuing a career in the field. John persisted anyways and eventually managed to win his father's respect before the latter's death. John and Tex both died of the same type of heart failure, and John's widow has spent the years since dedicating her life to trying to find out more about the genetic anomaly that caused their deaths. Join FactsVerse as we explore how John Ritter lost his father's respect but managed to earn it back. Tex Ritter was born in Texas, January 12, 1905. He went on to become a famous country singer, most memorably lending his voice to the title theme of the film High Noon. Despite his high-profile association with Hollywood, Tex never had much respect for actors. Tex only had one wife in his life, and they were married until his death in 1974. Her name was Dorothy Fay, and the two married in June of 1941. They had two children, brothers John and Tom Ritter. Of course, John is the one who went on to become the more famous of the two. His fame surpassed that of his father, though John carved out his pathway in a different niche. He followed in his father's footsteps by pursuing a career in the entertainment industry, but preferred acting to singing. According to the late John Ritter, his father felt that acting was something that wasn't a worthwhile pursuit for any man. But that didn't stop John from switching courses during his college years, from pursuing a career in psychology to a career in the dramatic arts. That occurred in the late 60s, and John slowly rose to prominence throughout the 70s. Some wonder why Tex thought acting was so much worse than singing, and this discrepancy was never quite explained. But it appears Tex would have most likely preferred for John to pursue a career completely outside of the entertainment industry like his brother did. John's brother Tom went on to become a lawyer and found much success in the field. While it's hard to deny that pursuing a career in law would generally be a safer life choice than trying to become a famous Hollywood actor, things ended up turning out okay for John Ritter. He had a passion for acting, claiming it was the second oldest profession known to man. And although John never became a highly respected dramatic actor during his life, he found consistent success on dramatic television. He even appeared in a few notable films before his death in 2003 from heart failure. During the early 70s, John Ritter could be seen on notable TV series like The Mary Tyler Moore Show and MASH. He was also given a recurring role as a character named Reverend Matthew Fordwick on the hit series The Waltons. It was this role that allowed John to win over his father's respect before the latter's death in 1974. Tex Ritter died of heart failure, and the exact same kind that would later claim John. This specific type of heart failure would also affect John's brother, though his brother ended up being saved from death by surgery. As a religious man, Tex Ritter found favor in John's performance as the character of Reverend Matthew Fordwick. Whether Tex was truly moved by the performance or simply wanted to find some common ground with his son as he was passing away, the results were the same. John confided in his father, while the latter was dying, that acting was the only thing he knew how to do, and his father finally accepted it. John's fame increased greatly in the years after his father's death, though he sadly passed away from the same affliction decades later. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to FactsVerse for more. And stick around for more about John Ritter. Several years after his father's passing in 1974, John Ritter received his big break. This came in the form of his iconic role in the 1977 sitcom Three's Company, which cast the actor alongside fellow burgeoning star Suzanne Summers. The two rose to immense prominence on the program, which aired on ABC. After it ended, the two maintained success in the industry in one form or another. In addition to trying his hand in a few other TV series during the 80s, John also broke out into film during the 90s, with roles in notable hits such as Problem Child and Sling Blade. John Ritter became a parent himself in 1980, having his first child with his wife, Nancy Morgan. Nancy is a fellow TV actress, and she and John were married from 1977 to 96. The two had 3 children together. John made a pact to be more supportive to his children than his father had been to him, no matter what his children wanted to be when they grew up. John and Nancy's first child was Jason. Jason was followed by sister Carly in 1982 and brother Tyler in 85. After John and Nancy's divorce in 1996, John went on to remarry. His second wife was Amy Yazbek, and she and John had a daughter together named Stella. John and Amy were married in 1999, and John stepped into the new millennium optimistic about the future. This optimism paid off as the actor was given a role in 2002 that rocketed him back into the spotlight. Sadly, he died only a year later. Stella was born September 11, 1998, and her parents didn't officially tie the knot until the following year. In 2002, John's career was given an incredible boost when he was given the lead role on the show 8 Simple Rules. After decades of being in the background, John was once again at the forefront as a major TV star. Sadly, he didn't make it through the show's second season. On Stella's 5th birthday, John began feeling nauseated during the filming of 8 Simple Rules and had to be rushed to the hospital. He died that day. As Amy remembers it, John felt terrible that he was ruining his last daughter's 5th birthday. However, something much worse ended up happening than the mere spoiling of a birthday party. Amy and John used sign language to express their love to one another as John was being brought into his hospital room. At the time, it didn't seem like anything too urgent was occurring, but Amy has recalled she later noticed doctors appearing increasingly tense and heard an emergency code called over the speaker. Their sign language expressions of love ended up being the last moment that John Ritter and his second wife ever shared. John died of the same type of heart failure as his father, which apparently caught the doctors by surprise before they could do anything. His brother Tom had also suffered the same type of heart surgery but had been saved by emergency surgery. This led John's family to believe that the doctors had failed the late actor, and they subsequently formed a suit against them. The wrongful death suit that John's family formed against the doctors that presided over him at the time of his death alleged that they failed to perform a scan that could have resulted in emergency surgery that would have saved his life. In addition to monetary compensations for emotional damages, the suit also asked for compensation for the money John would have made from the continued success of 8 Simple Rules. The suit didn't end up going anywhere, with the cause of John's death being attributed more to the genetic anomaly that had afflicted him and his brother and father than any malpractice of the doctors presiding over him. Since her late husband's death, Amy Yazbek has advocated for more research into the genetic anomaly that led to his passing. Perhaps she's worried the same genetic anomaly will affect daughter Stella, who's now undergone gender affirmation surgery and is now known as Noah. All 4 of John's children are still with us, and Tom Ritter is still around as well. Amy truly believes that if the doctors had managed to perform the right test on her late husband, he'd still be with us today. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know that John Ritter's father was a country singer and that they both died from the same type of heart failure? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.